국내 최대 규모 메타버스 컨퍼런스 메타콘 2022. 전통과 디지털이 공존하는 대한민국 서울에서 새로운 기회를 여는 디지털 이코노미 세상으로 여러분을 초대합니다. 메타버스, NFT, 블록체인을 아우르는 지식 공유 플랫폼. 전 세계 혁신 기업 리더와 전문가들이 참여하는 메타콘 2022. 본 행사는 오프라인으로 진행되며 참가 티켓은 홈페이지에서 구매 가능합니다.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. I'm very excited about this. I hope you are all having an amazing conference and learning so much about the future and the metaverse. I'm very excited to be with these panelists. I'm going to introduce them in a second. My name is Josh Dreen. I am Web3 advisor at the Harvard Innovation Labs. I am a core contributor to SoWork, the workplace metaverse, and I am co-founder of Dreen Media. Here I have SERGEI MEDVEDEV. He is co-founder and chief business development officer at Cryptomeria Labs, a Web3 entertainment ecosystem, and venture partner at Cryptomeria Capital. He is a serial entrepreneur with more than 12 years experience in global business development, and he likes to wave.
Hey guys, I'm glad to be here, and thank you for having me here. So, thank you, Josh.
This is TSUTSUI. He is a managing partner at GFR, a San Francisco-based venture capital fund that invests in emerging technology around the future of digital entertainment. TEPPEI, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me here too. I'm so excited to be back in Korea. Last time I was here was 2001, so it was 21 years ago. So I'm so excited to be back in Korea. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. And here we have TREVOR OWENS. TREVOR is managing partner at Stacks Accelerator and co-founder and CEO of Ninjalerts, which provides custom NFT alerts for any contract or wallet. TREVOR, thanks for being here.
Excited to be here, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Yes, it's going to be a good one. My first question, and I want to keep it high level, I want to make it personal up front. The world of Web3 and all of the exciting innovations that are on the horizon have the potential to quite literally change our world and our portfolios. What got you interested in investing in the metaverse? What was attractive to you about this space? And I'd like to hear from all three of you.
Okay. Actually, for me, it was 2017. I bought first CryptoKitty. I understood that entertainment is like adoption for crypto. I like it. And then, all crises brings growth to the entertainment industry, like always. Because people want to, forget about problems and just dive deeper to the, metaverse, I don't know, like reading, watching TV, etc. So the thing is, why I'm interested in investing in metaverse, because it's the future. And it's not only metaverse, it's Web3, and it's a big shift. If you remember how it was with Web2, like, come on. People from 2005 start talking about Web2, something, and, like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter come on the scene. It was small, and, I hadn't had a chance, to just participate in this Web2 shift. And now I want to be here and heavily invest in this space. So it's my opinion.
Very cool.
Yeah, I guess my personal and business reason, before starting this fund, I was at a gaming company called Greek, so it's a mobile gaming company in Japan. And for some reason, somebody got the EK2, like the Oculus second generation of the VR headset. And I put it on, and that was like amazing, like eye-opening experience. And I was like, wow. So that's like the first experience that I got into more VR or metaverse. And a couple of years after, I think the more company or more founders are interested in like talking about starting new company in metaverse or VR or AR. So we thought that the VR can be like a new, more like a computing platform. So it's going to go really huge. Maybe like after mobile came out after the PC, so the VR is going to be more like a change the computing like a platform for like changing everything. So we thought that it's going to be a big opportunity, and we raised the fund to invest in the VR. even like a Metaverse. So that was back in 2016.
Yeah, so I grew up a gamer, Nintendo, NES, that was my childhood, and then as being an adult, I also got involved in the esports industry, so I was a co-owner of a team that actually competed here in Korea. We actually won and beat the #1 Korean team, so I guess, this was the early stage of this game, but next year the Korean team beat us because Korea is obviously the best at esports, and it's just a whole other league. In fact, you guys invented esports, so I'm very excited about this because I think the aspect of ownership and where that can lead us in the future is going to be starting with digital assets, and I think that we'll see those in gaming and in metaverses, and then from there, that's going to really be the wedge that allows us to have all kinds of ownership connected to digital elements of blockchain. So it's very exciting to see the business models, including in the gaming industry, being inverted by some of these new ideas around ownership, and so excited to be here and discuss it with you guys.
So it's fascinating to hear those different entries into this space. I'm curious about that moment when you were like, you heard about something about the metaverse, you decided that you wanted to invest, and you finally were convinced that it was a good idea. Take us to that moment.
I've met, in 2019 in Osaka on DevCon, I've met Matic, Polygonal, Axie Infinity, and Sandbox. So, and they were super small, and I had to have a chance to understand their products and to see the future. And for me, it was obvious to invest to buy some tokens in not private, but when they started. So it worked really good for me. So, but in general, it was it's early stage. It's a lot of speculations about that. So when I start digging seriously what we can do in terms of entertainment, I spoke to AMC, I spoke to Netflix, we talked to different big gaming companies, and how do they see this market? They don't know what to do with that because they still focusing on their revenue stream that is pretty, old-fashioned in terms of gaming. Charging people, microtransactions, etc. And I know, wow, we should invest in this. We should educate the companies from Web2 how to make it to Web3, and Web3 companies how to attract some audience. Because the problem is, Axie's audience, it's crypto people who want to just free money. So, and that's a problem. They are limited, and they don't know how to can attract more regular gaming audience. So, kind of.
Yeah, so I've been investing from on behalf of the companies, so investing itself is not really new to me, but I guess I'm gonna share one moment when I met with the company called VRChat. So VRChat is considered to be one of the biggest social VR space right now, and it's more like a UGC platform, so something similar to Roblox or Minecraft, but things are all happening in VR. And when I met them, so two founders, and one founder actually came out of college, so he kind of started it right after college, and the other one's more like a veteran, so he's been in the gaming industry for some time. But I still did a few of them. And now the company became so big, it's 100 people now, and members of the users of the VR as well, a couple of million MAU. It's a huge market, huge community now. But when I saw them, when I first met them, it's only 100 people. 100 people just stay playing, trying to do VR, living the VR. But amazing thing is that each person spends 7 hours every day in VR. There's only 100 people, but half of them, or even I think majority of them, spending almost a day in VR. So I thought that this is something that I can do. So that was the industry moment.
I would say I was very skeptical initially, and I'm actually still very skeptical of a lot of the ideas I see in the space. I think in the Web3 space in general, I've seen some of the most brilliant ideas I've ever seen in my life. I've seen some of the dumbest ideas I've ever seen in my life. And coming from the Web2 space, I spent 10 years on go-to-market, lean startup, working with very early stage ideas. And I reached a point where I'd seen almost every single idea over and over and over again. And then when it came to Web3, initially I got into it because I'm coming at it from the developer's perspective as well, someone who is full stack, and I didn't understand initially, like, what can you do with blockchain that you couldn't do with Web2 and databases? It took me a while to get it until I actually experienced it and went deep into it. And so when I finally started getting involved, primarily for trading NFTs, and that's actually what led me into Ninjalerts. And I was trading NFTs primarily because as a venture capitalist, it's my job to know the market, and the best way to do that is first an experience. So what I did is I converted some of my Bitcoin into Ethereum. I was like, I'm gonna, lose all this Ethereum, that's fine. I'm just gonna spend on some JPEGs. I didn't understand what I was doing. But then when I actually got into it and started seeing the behaviors and feeling the motivational behaviors myself, I started to realize how much of a behavior change it does when you actually start to own things in the Web3 space. And so the limit of what we know about what's possible is immense. The potential for new ideas to flourish in Web3 as compared to Web2 is only limited by our imagination at this stage. I think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's not going to be true. We're going to find out where the borders of that potential is. But really it comes down to first-hand experience. There's some things that you can only learn by doing it and feeling it yourself. Same thing like being here in Korea, being here in Seoul, seeing all the energy in this room. You wouldn't believe it if you were just, staying in your own country, you've never been here to actually see what's going on. And so I think the same thing applies to most of the things that we see in Web3.
That's fascinating, and I really like how the theme throughout all of that was you're learning through experience. You decided to try it, you were surprised by the returns, and here you are on stage at Metacon. So tell us a little bit about, give us some advice for investors right now who are looking at this space, who are probably a little bit earlier than you are and are still a little bit skeptical. What can we give them in order to help them make the leap?
Disclaimer, it's not financial advice. Like investment advice. So I do believe there's two options. We talked about this morning. So there's two options. You can invest in speculative market, like it was with NFTs, and okay, you can have a good returns, but it's risky. And a lot of people who don't have access to private communities or something, they're lost their mind like a lot because retail investors are quite bad with risk management, especially high risk investments. And another point, just check technology, check interesting startups that could bring value, real value, like usage. For example, I always tell it, entertainment should be entertaining, like entertain you, like games. Like if people play games just for fun, they will consume some digital assets. So you don't need to make it NFT drop first. You just make it, your business model. And if startup has big audience, 100 million or like even a million, and they know how to onboard this audience into Web3 functionality, they use token, they use maybe just NFTs or something that you see sustainable model and big audience. I think that's good because Metaverse right now, more about entertainment. And Philip told us about work in this Metaverse space. It's good, but it's super like specific niche, and entertainment is big. So I think at first place in entertainment.
Let me pull some themes out of there, because that is a really astute point that you make often, which is sometimes we get wrapped up in the investments or the stats or what it's going to look like, and you kind of help us take a step back and realize it's entertaining and it's fun. And if we can really hone in on what that feels like and what that looks like, I think there's a magic point there. And coming to you, Trevor, it's interesting also to see your passion around NFT trading. Can you tell us a little bit about what Ninjalerts is, how it got started, how it was rooted in your excitement in the space, and also what it means for the future?
Yeah, I can also talk about how it relates to my investment thesis as well, because Ninjalerts kind of follows my exact playbook for what I like to invest that is extreme focus and extreme practicality and extreme like concreteness. And so when I look at like a new pitch from an entrepreneur, if I can't like touch it, it's not like hard as a rock in terms of like I clearly can understand what the value is of this. It's like a definite pass for me. And maybe as an entrepreneur, it's not good enough to explain your idea, but if you can't explain your idea, then you can't raise funding, and you'll basically never be a unicorn. You have to, it takes money to make money. You have to be able to raise. It's one of the most important factors in the most successful founders is the ability to raise. And that comes down to taking something that's a very big idea, figuring out the initial starting point, strategically where that fits in the ecosystem, and then making it as concrete as possible for people who maybe don't understand it. And so when it came to the idea for Ninjalerts, actually, I was doing this NFT trading again. I was doing it to learn about the space and because my job as an investor. And I ended up actually making a lot of profits from trading NFTs. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. How did I make so much Ethereum? I was just going to throw it in the garbage just to learn. And then I started making all these profits. And I was like, sort of getting addicted to it. I think that, of course, there's a ton of speculation in the crypto space. I think speculation is a necessary evil. Like you need it in order to grow, in order to get that excitement and sort of break through the noise. Too much of it is a horrible thing. It's a negative signal if you have too much speculation. But a certain mix of speculation and real value is what leads to the most successful projects that we see. And so, that's speculating, that becomes very addictive, almost like a casino effect. And so I was like addicted to NFT trading. I was like, I have to, I'm wasting too much time on this. I am making money doing it. I need a way to go back and focus on my job. So I was participating in these different alpha groups, and I was like, I knew who a lot of the top traders were, people that were making, over 1,000 each conference, trading, just like every day. And I was like, I know their wallet addresses. Why don't I just get a push notification on my phone whenever they buy something? And then I don't have to actually stay on Discord and on Twitter 24/7. I have a Samsung G9 monitor. It's like the Ferrari monitors, gaming monitors, and like you could fit 5 screens on it. And I would have all those screens full of like Discord, Twitter, Etherscan, etc., waiting for a drop. And I was like, I want to have friends. I want to have a life. I want to, get out of my office. So it started as a way to solve my own problem. And the reason I wanted to turn it into a business was in building myself instead of like finding someone else to build it, because it followed that pattern that I look for, which is like, if you can build a business around one killer feature, that is the easiest way to be successful. And so too many entrepreneurs, they don't have the focus, they don't even know what their killer feature is, and they're trying to do too many things. And I saw tons of NFT trading tools making this exact same mistake. They're trying to do algo trading bot and charts and analytics and all those other types of things. And I was like, if we're just the best at this one feature, and this one feature is essential for our customer, NFT traders, to where they will happily have multiple tools because they want the one tool that's the best at this single feature, and we get a head start and we get that momentum to where anyone else who's trying to do this feature, it's never going to be as good as us. That's kind of the winning path. And so with Ninjalerts, we really focus just on one thing, and that is delivering you the fastest and best alerts on the projects that you want to invest in or collect or trade. And so allowing you to discover those wallets. So we have like a directory of wallets. We analyze all of the most profitable wallets. And we allow you to just very easily follow those wallets and get push notifications. And so we've seen a lot of other tools coming up that have added alerts, but none of them are doing mobile, none of them are doing it as well as us, and they're doing it as simple and easy as we are. And I think that's been one of our key factors for success, and also what I look to invest in. And so to give you guys just some stats on how well that worked out for us, from the date that I came up with the idea, what we did is we sold an NFT license, like a lifetime license. From the idea to actually the mint was 4 weeks. We put up a landing page. We were going to kill the idea if we didn't get traction. Our Discord was 60,000 people. We sold over 1.4 million NFTs within 30 days, and 70% of our users from that first day are still using the app today. And so we've also messed a lot of things up along the way. We made a lot of mistakes, but because we set ourselves up in a way that was easy to be successful, that all these mistakes wouldn't kill us because we have a very big margin for error to be successful. we've been able to continue to grow. And so that's the exact same thing I look for when looking for investments is it solving a very clear problem? Does it solve a problem for the founders themselves? And is it strategically positioned? Are they stacking the deck where there's a high margin for error? If they mess everything up, they're probably still going to be successful. That's a great investment to make.
That's so fascinating to see how you have taken this and made it into a very simple process. I want to come to you, TEPPEI, on this next one. And by the way, TEPPEI's shoes are incredible. I don't know, cameras, if you can zoom up on those. They have pineapples on them, which is incredible. TEPPEI, GFR is very much focused on investing not only in tech, but the people, the technology in digital entertainment. So and you've written extensively around what you need to see before you make a VC investment. It's an interesting thing. I work at the workplace Metaverse, and we're working to take work from the earth to the cloud. It is a startup that started out of the Harvard Innovation Labs because there was a group of students who really liked to play World of Warcraft. And they were building a completely separate startup at first, but they had this little passion project within their startup, and it ended up pivoting into their full project. Now they are fully funded and working very hard to kind of carve out this space. That was a passion project that turned into an actual investment that worked very well. What do you need to see in order to see those early signals? What fit do you need in order to say, yes, I'm going to invest in this company?
Yeah, it's really tough question. There's no single right answer, or maybe just like one single answer. So you have to ask multiple questions about the team, product, and traction, and everything. But because we are serious stage focused, serious stage meaning that it's usually pre-revenue and sometimes pre-product even too. So we still only see maybe like a prototype or maybe like a product demo. But I guess it really comes down to the team, like the founding team and entrepreneurs. If there's usually people see that if there's a product market fit, but we love to see founder market fit or founder product fit. Meaning that it's like usually the founder comes from the same industry they're trying to do, or if he or she has enough experience, enough network meaning that it's usually useful for hiring in the future. So network and also the vision, like a strong vision, and also what they want to achieve during his or her life. So we ask a lot of questions about what they are trying to do, or what they have done before, and what they are trying to do, and usually that's moment that this is the founder that we want to work with, and the founder that we. So I guess investing is really 10-year relationship. So we have to see if there's a chemistry, if there's a fit. So it's not beyond business reasons. There's also we'll have to see a personal fit as well. So yes, I guess that comes really this is the founder that we really want to back up is the core question that we want to answer to ourselves. So it's not really a clear answer, but it's usually what we look at.
Well, let me press in on that. There are startups right now who are seeking for funding, and they see the metaverse as a very buzzy term, as an easy way to kind of pitch their idea. What kind of vetting process do you do in terms of this actually is a decentralized version of whatever, this is Web3, true crypto network, DAOs, moving forward into the future. Is that a criteria for you that it needs to be in a Web3 technology, or are you still, how do you decide?
Right, I guess first question first thing that we're trying to find out is if this entrepreneur is only saying Web3 or blockchain or Metaverse, he because they think that's cool, or they think that's gonna like help their funding, like for the foundational money. So we try to like understand why they're like looking for something like Metaverse, something in Web3. So that's the or he or she's like saying really like sincerely or just like artificially. So I guess that's like the first question trying to find out. And the other one is I guess like a GFR don't really, we always look for like product and people. So Web3 part is something that if it kind of makes sense for that company or for the product we're building, to like more make it better, I think that's a really good signal. But if something that they're trying if they want to build something like Web3, we try, if there's any reason to be like a blockchain based, or it's like a Web3 based. This is kind of like question we're trying to like find out as well too. So I guess that's
That's great. And Sergey, I know you have strong feelings on this. You've done a lot in this space. Satoshi's Quest is a great platform. You have started a media channel, mpost.io, which is a vetted process in terms of making sure that we are talking about the same thing, that we are streamlining the content, and that we're cutting through the noise. Tell us a little bit about why you feel this is necessary.
In general, for me, media is a common thing. I was Chief Business Development Officer at Cointelegraph, so from 2019 to 2021, and I made it bigger, and I opened a lot of media branches. So for me, it's my market, and I love it. Because when we educate people, and right now education is really important. On bear market, when people don't talk about talking them to the moon, so let's educate them a bit just to understand what's going on, and maybe that's how we could create more available projects, and they will share ideas from our channels. And I've been long time in this media market. I know problems of media market, and I'm trying to solve it. With Satoshi Quest, we just, we started. We tried out by ourselves to create project with a value. So to make an NFT drop. Then we acquired a game, existing game. We're still developing. We are choosing platforms. We are really careful with our community and our real value inside the game, because inside the game it's more than myth. Because crypto, it's now the modern myth. I mean, who's Satoshi? It's the questions we're just asking everyone. And let's do them, comic books, let's do this series. And for us, it was interesting to keep this line, and that's cool. So, for me, all that noise around, on the bull market, it's okay. And you're right, Trevor. So it's good. For me, it's we are getting more composed just to have good, growth for, new startups, new ideas. And that's why media, these kind of conferences like Metacon, helps us to show up with great ideas, to bring you together, guys, to exchange your opinions, and that's the power of media. So in the right time, on the bear market to build it, and on the bull market, guide people.
Trevor, do you want to build off of that a little bit?
Yeah, totally. So I could talk a little bit more about what we look at and how we invest. And so my investment approach is probably going to be a little bit different than some of the most successful venture capitalists. I look at Warren Buffett for inspiration. So I'm actually not looking for home runs. I'm actually looking for easy wins. So Warren Buffett once said, he doesn't look for 5-foot fences to jump over, he looks for 1-foot fences to step over. And so I'm out there looking for entrepreneurs with a high margin of error, a very high chance of success, and maybe it's a moderate outcome. I'm not as in, because I would rather go to a moderate outcome and change that into an outlier outcome than take something that has a very small chance of maybe being an outlier, but otherwise it's going to be a zero. And so starting small and building up, and looking for opportunities where maybe it's going to be a double. Maybe I invest on, or actually our fund, Stacks Ventures, we do a very high quantity of deals. And so in the last 16 months, we did 47 deals. we're the most active in the Bitcoin ecosystem as a part of Stacks. We're the number one most active. And so we're writing a lot of small checks. And so I'm really trying to be founder focused where, you know, if our founders would say they end up where they lose momentum and the company's not looking good, you know, I would actually tell them, hey, it might be time to quit, you know, start over, like incorporate a new company. I'll fund your next company because I want the founders to be as successful as possible. And there's a big difference between investing in a founder who has never done anything and a founder who sold for like $10 million. That founder who sold for $10 million, you know, look at Elon Musk. He actually, his first company he did too, he only made $20 million on. Then the next company he founded was PayPal. Part of his exit was over $100 million. And then he started Tesla and SpaceX. And so building those relationships with founders, we have a very high quantity of deals that we do think we'll get some outlier outcome from. But I'm much more focused on minimizing the downside risks, taking risk off the table, aiming our founders who are maybe new founders, you know, if they get the momentum and they're going for that unicorn style, like that happens, then that's amazing. That's like, there's a lot of luck and timing involved in this. Timing is the most important factor in starting a business, period. I mean, it's the number one most important factor. And so, but if that's not going to happen, then I want to see them hit a double. I want to see them hit maybe a triple. And then I want to fund their next company as well. And so, I'm not the type of person like Mark Andreessen, for example. I've spoken with Mark Andreessen. When he looks at investments, he's looking at like 1 million. He's like, you know, I actually asked him, I said, you know, what would it take for this idea to be successful? He listed like 5 things that I think that will never happen. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like on the ground, rolling up my sleeves, trying to meet with founders and like whatever ingredients we have in the kitchen, I'm going to cook dinner behind them. So that's my approach.
I love that analogy. That's wonderful. So we're getting into some interesting territory here with the time we have left. Everyone is watching the economy with bated breath. We are shoring up our accounts and monitoring our portfolios a little closer than we usually do. What does it mean? We're talking about trends. What trends do you see right now, and how do we, I don't want to say how do we survive this, but when we look at the crypto, quote, crypto winter, what do you see the future of Web3 and crypto technologies?
Okay, I'll start. It's okay to have a winter. We witnessed a couple of them, I guess. So it's okay, and you will see growth. Right now, economy is really bad, like in general, globally. And you know, on one hand, it is okay. It's disaster, you know, for people. You know, and on the other hand, it's always a thing, a time when you can achieve, I think, the biggest results in the future. You will build your future right now. So, and this is the right time. Of course, it's a hard time, and you will have a lot of pain in this, but it's okay. It's a while. That's it.
Yeah, I got the same theory. It's like cycle, right? Like stock market cycle, crypto market is also cycle. There's like up and down, up and down. So I think it's right now it's kind of some sort of theory. It's like a down cycle. So we have to be, you know, really patient. And so I guess like for the company that we always invested in, we usually like advise them to just get the funding so that we can get through this. So just like extend the runway, runway like working capital, so that we can get some like a bridge financing, and so that hopefully the market will come back sometime next year. But at least we should have like a 12-month, 1-year runway, so that we can see how things go. And yeah, I guess that I'm pretty optimistic in terms of like crypto, Web3, and Metaverse. So don't lose that like confidence and just work it together.
Yeah, I think it's been a hard couple of months in this space. I think I'm looking forward to maybe some relief going into the final quarter of the year, maybe some increased spending and some outperformance on earnings from some major companies. I personally don't think that we're in a bear market. I think that we're in a crypto bull market that's in a macro bear market. And so I think when I look around this room, I see a lot of people, I see people who are interested, people are curious, people are passionate. We're still in a bull market here in the crypto space. The problem is the macro environment is so bad that, relative to what we've seen over the past year, it's just like, it's not its former self. You know what I'm saying? We've lost a lot of weight. We're looking kind of sick. We're tired. But relatively, if you look at the fundamentals of the space, it looks very strong. And so I think as the macro condition hopefully improves, there's a lot of geopolitical concerns with Russia and Ukraine. I think, of course, inflation, it looks like we're getting a hold of that. I'm hopefully that we're gonna start to get out of this, and we will see a very quick ramp up, I think, in the crypto space because of all the building that's happening right now. And so, I think if you are in the space right now, my advice to you would be that we're still in the very early stages of this entire industry, and so if you're looking to build something, the best bet is looking at enabling technologies. So enabling technologies like developer tools, like building blocks that other apps that are going to come along can build on top of. So if you're interested in Metaverse, try to build the electricity, the plumbing, the carpentry tools that other Metaverses and other developers can come along and build on top of. That's going to be like selling the pickaxes to the gold miners. That's kind of the stage that we're at right now, I think, in this industry. I think it's a lot harder when I see people trying to tackle Web2 industries or brick and mortar industries and then bring them into Web3. The tools are not available yet there. I do believe that we will see, specifically in Korea, around NFTs, entertainment, digital media, K-pop, K-dramas, esports, gaming. I do think that these industries are going to be huge in Web3, but I'm not sure that startups are going to be the ones who have the IP or can leverage IP in a scalable way through partnerships to capitalize on that. I think it's going to be primarily existing companies, and then if you can build an enabling technology maybe to enable the people who do have the IP in those industries to come into Web3, that would be a very strategic position to be in.
And may I add something? Remember, 2004, Facebook founded. 2005, YouTube founded. 2006, am I right? Like Twitter founded. And 2008, crisis. Bam, Web2 goes like straight to the moon. So, and now the same crisis, and even worse. So for me, it's like the thing.
I love that, and it's very reassuring to hear your positive takes on this and your willingness to forge ahead and make it happen. So I want to talk a little bit about the expansiveness of investing in the metaverse. We've been talking about it in broad strokes here, as well as very finite, and you touched on this a little bit earlier, Sergey, and Philip talked about the future of work in the metaverse. The future of work is not employment. It is crypto networks. It is the metaverse. It is an opportunity for employees, quote, employees or contributors to finally own the value that they're generating in the workplace, finally have the agency that they need to make the decisions, and they get to join a DAO under a smart contract so that they can derive value in a way that they see fit, in ways that are currently unimaginable. What we're talking about today is providing a world for so many individuals where they can build a world, interoperable worlds where they can learn and grow and work in ways that they like. They're taking ownership again of who they are. I'm saying this because we talk a lot about the gaming industry. It's just the most obvious way to view the metaverse at this current moment. But under a larger umbrella, there are so many impacts that it is going to be having. Where do you see that impact happening, and what would you say to maybe non-gaming investors?
It's interesting because it's a lot of games, obviously. So, but professional software with like Metaverse or augmented reality, or even if you talk about Metaverse, it's not about VR only. It's about mind shift. It's about principles, like how we how we build new apps. For example, in gaming, it changed a lot. For example, you build space where some people create value and other people consume this value. You don't need to charge people, like overcharge, like you do it like free-to-play model. But the thing is, in other I don't know, segments of the market, you could find this shit. So when you don't directly create all the rules, but you create a space, and you create a space where a person with his assets, with his information, with his identity, or she's identity, just join this place and feel comfortable and feel confident and, you know, use his things that his or her, like own things, own assets, and could bring in your space and create more and I don't know, interact with your instruments and your solutions. So, and it should be solid. So it's my opinion.
Yeah, being the little bit game-focused investor, I think it's kind of maybe my views kind of a little bit biased, but there are like a lot of things happening outside of gaming too, in terms of the metaverse. I guess like training is like one of the big areas that like a lot of the VC funded those companies do, and like big company like Walmart and more like a corporate is like actually using the metaverse of VR for like employee training and also like other practical trainings too. Even like mental training, they use that VR and also like the blockchain. And also like the parties like healthcare, like medical training and also like surgical simulations, can be done by like in VR. And those that can try, new methodology for any new medical treatment, VR first, or whatever first, and before actually trying to go to human. It's really helping the humanity, from the really changing this world. So there are lots of applications beyond gaming, and people should pay more attention to that too.
Yeah, I would say that for me, it's mainly gaming, I think, as well. I think, when I look at the metaverse, first of all, what is the metaverse? Can anyone here define the metaverse? It's such a broad idea and concept that means so many different things to so many people. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's kind of the intention. But when I think about maybe the most common definition, we think of like Ready Player One, like the movie. And we think about, in the future, people are going to plug into their headset every single day, and they're going to be in this world where they're chatting, and it's, if it's just like chat, for example, I think that's something that I don't really understand personally because, I may seem like a big talker here on stage, but if you know me in real life and you text me, I'm just going to usually respond with one word, like I'm not a big talker. So I don't really understand this sort of the chat space, and I think it's a really hard product domain. Again, you have a really good product team to understand chat. You're competing against Twitter and Discord. But when I think about the metaverse as the ownership layer and the hybrid between the real world and what the on-chain world, like we see with like Nike and other brands doing in fashion, combining those aspects. And when I look at gaming, I'm very, very bullish on those things. And so I think if you're an investor who's not a gaming investor, you just need to find what you're good at in that space, what you understand, and you need to become a degen in that space. If you're looking at the fashion space specifically, go out there and have a budget that you're going to, plan to lose, to play a lot of experiments and try different products so you can wrap your head around it. There's just so many different opportunities in every industry, but there's also going to be a lot of filtering that you need to do because there's going to be so many bad ideas out there, especially in the bull market. It's harder because you're not going to see any type of pumping of projects that you can trade on. There's going to be very, very a lot of scrutiny, and there's going to be few projects that really make it. So it's about putting in that work, and I think both of the other panels have listed some really great areas to look at.
Speaking of bad ideas, I would like to hear from you, and you don't have to get into the too specifics, but what is a success or failure that you've experienced in this space so far? What did you learn from it, and how can we learn from that moving forward?
don't be greedy. It's the most important thing because you always keep this bag of tokens. It will grow definitely. Like 1,000, it's not a limit. We can go further. And it's bullshit. So the thing is. Options and futures, be careful with that. When you do some leverage, you could lose a lot. And it's, I could have graduated Harvard, I think, 5 times, like full program. This money I lost, and it's my education. It's okay, I accept it. But guys, I don't suggest you to kind of be greedy and don't do what you don't know how to do, or you don't do it on daily basis. So I'm not a trader. So when I tried options, especially like when I allocate some money to traders, so it wasn't really good. So it's my suggestion.
Yeah. So it's so we tend to invest like entrepreneurs and founders. So those startups usually fail. So it's usually high chance of like a failure. So we have to take that for granted at the beginning, like at least. But I guess so it's kind of interesting. Like whenever the company fails, it's actually the founder when the founder comes up. So there are some people like really stick to their idea, and I think it's good. But usually this should be more flexible, like depending on the market need, market demand. So they have to maybe change the product a little bit or change the business model. But I guess the company, it's really interesting. Like the founders gives up is the timing that like people or companies there. So if you're starting a new company, you should be aware that this is something that you really want to do it, because otherwise maybe you may waste some money from the founders, investors, and that's big responsibility. So you have to return the money back to your investors, and you have to protect their employment, their employees. So yeah, I guess I don't want to discourage starting a company, but there are some things we have to think about before starting a new company. So.
Yeah, so luckily I avoided this failure, but I know a lot. This was the biggest failure of the entire year. It was Terra, right? And so, I think if it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true, right? If it's too complicated, it's a bad idea. And so, coming into the Web3 space, there's so many new possibilities that I at least have, a bias of maybe being too open-minded, but the same rules apply in the sense of things have to be grounded in reality. You can't escape gravity. Things have to be done from first principles thinking. Like if you look at Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, things that they're really great at is first principles thinking, like thinking from the ground up, putting logic together in a chain of logic that leads to a unique insight, and then making things extremely simple. There is genius in simplicity. If something is too complicated, it's a bad idea. And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So I think those are the biggest lessons that I've taken away from this year, because coming to this space, for those of you who are new, you're going to see so many new things, and you're going to have to be open-minded. You should be open-minded, but finding where that line is going to be hard. That's going from the beginner to the advanced. It's figuring out where that line is. But there's plenty of things you can just dismiss because they're not simple enough and they sound too good to be true.
This has been a fascinating discussion, and I just want to thank you all for joining me here on stage here at the Metacon conference. Thank you all in the audience for your participation and your willingness to learn and to grow in this space. As we come together and work to build the future, we can continue to do it together. So thanks again for this opportunity, and we'll close it here.
Thank you very much to our great speaker.
본 행사는 오프라인으로 진행되며 참가 티켓은 홈페이지에서 구매 가능합니다.